Welcome to Study Like a Scientist, HSC questions. Remember, when you have an HSC question in front of you, read it. So highlight the verbs, notice the key scientific words, make sure you understand them and the purpose of the question. So don't go off on your own tangent, answering what you think you want to talk about. Notice any plurals and the number of marks, because that will guide you. So that when you're planning your response, you can use your scientific words, you can answer in a way that's going to maximize your number of marks. So maybe you'll write it or use a table, engage with any stimulus and be really logical, because that helps the examiner to give you marks. And then when you're finished, check your answer. Make sure that you have written what you intended to write. So let's have a look at the 2023 paper question 24. And this is an interesting question because it's an explain, which is a cause linked to effect. So we want words like because and causes or therefore in the answer. And it's quite interesting because it's got an and in it. So we want to be talking about problems with the structure and the function of the eye. So this is module 8. And it then says and how it can cause a named visual disorder. So the answer is going to need to have your named visual disorder and talk about structure and talk about function. So you can see why it's worth 3 marks. So let's have a look at the marking criteria. Pause this, have a little read, so that when you look at this student's answer, you can decide how many marks it's worth and what you would change to improve it and make it worth more marks. So pause, have a go, and we'll be back in a second to talk about it. So you can see a few things in this response. The first one is that the students started and then changed their mind. And I expect they changed their mind because something was going on here. They couldn't remember which way round short-sightedness went. So they've stopped, they've changed their mind. Now, as soon as you cross something out, it's essentially invisible to the examiner. So it doesn't really matter. If you've written it underneath there, it can't be marked. So we can only mark what's below, and they've talked about cataracts. Now, it's spelt wrong. So we've got a misspelling here, doesn't matter. It hasn't changed or confused the examiner, so it should be okay. They've talked about the lens being cloudy and not all the light getting through, so the vision is blurry. This actually looks like quite a good response. So I would be happy with this. And what I would like you to do is when you try this for yourself, to try it and use a different named visual disorder. But let's have a look at part B for this question. Part B is a describe. So you're describing, and we only want to describe one technology, okay, that assists with the effects of a named visual disorder. So we're still in the eye, still in module 8. We need 3 marks, but we're going to need to name a technology and a visual disorder. So let's have a quick look at the marking criteria. Again, pause to read it. And then assess what you think this student will get. It's a different disorder from the previous question, but that's okay. It just needs to be another named visual disorder. So pause and decide how many marks this is worth and if you can improve it. So this disorder this time is short-sightedness. That's good. And they've talked about it being treated with laser surgery and the permanent way to change the shape of the lens that isn't working properly. Now, there's a mistake here. We want, in a describe question, we need to be thinking about the characteristics, the nature and the features of this. Now, they've talked about laser surgery. That's okay. That's a named technology. But what they're talking about, how that works, is wrong. So hopefully you notice that you don't change the shape of the lens with laser surgery. You change the shape of the cornea, and you don't do it by burning. It's actually a cold temperature laser. So there are a couple of mistakes in here that you should be able to improve on. So either choose the same disorder technology or choose something different, but I would like you to have a go at these 2 I questions for yourself. So pause and give them a go.